Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are so delighted that you've welcomed us into your home, and we would love to hear from you. So send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. And today, our guest is Dorothy Pilarski. She's a Catholic wife. She's the mother. She's an author, and she's the founder of a beautiful group called CatholicMomsGroup.com. And this is a wonderful outreach for churches, parishes, to bring women together. She's laid out all the details of the how-tos and whys to get that. And for moms, we need to have restored, renewed back our dignity, our value, and our worth as mothers, because we know as a culture, we have been pushed aside. If you're a mom, you can have it all, do it all, have a baby, put your baby away, have a career. And it's like, wait a minute, let's slow this down. And we've all kind of got swooped up in the culture with the dictations of what a mother is supposed to look like. And so CatholicGroups.com helps women, CatholicMomsGroup.com helps women to get back together in fellowship, to restore, renew, and repair themselves as beautiful, holy Catholic women of God.
And Dorothy makes just a great case for the wonder and grandeur of being feminine, of being a woman, of being a mom, a biological mom. And of course, we know there's foster care, there's adoption, there's spiritual motherhood, and so on. All those are really true, but how we need a renaissance, a renewal. We discussed this on Monday. Why does motherhood matter? She has a book, Motherhood Does Matter, and she makes the case for that in a variety of ways. And then the support to be a mom, because it's a great call, but it's a call of sacrifice, a call of suffering, a call of joy. And
sometimes loneliness.
Yeah, and so how can we support this call to motherhood in the midst of this culture that has an animus, really an animus, especially in the West, against motherhood? And so we want to say children are a blessing and a joy and a heritage from the Lord. Blessed are those who have their quiver full of them. And so support is here. The Calvary is here for you moms. And those of you that are considering motherhood, it's worth it. Take the risk. Marriage, family, life. It's God's plan to transform the world, the whole world, and to bring forth vocations, to be a blessing upon the face of the earth. All life, as St. John Paul II said, passes through the way of motherhood, the threshold of the woman. All life comes forth. May God bring a renewal to the church, an appetite to love children and to have children, to be fruitful, to multiply, to fill the world, to subdue the world for Christ, for love. And may there be a great awakening to the grandeur of human life. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. It's going to be a wonderful show. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and our guest today is Dorothy Pilarski. She is a Catholic wife, a mother, an author, and a founder of a wonderful group called CatholicMomsGroup.com. And this group exists to bring women together, to revive the beautiful nature of motherhood, to grow as women of God, to be discipled, to have support. And she does a wonderful job, and we certainly want to hear Dorothy's beautiful story.
Yeah, Joe, I think we just showed a picture, and one of the things that's has struck me in the manual that they use, the publication they use, One Mother's Heart, and with Dorothy herself, you can't fabricate or fake smiles like that, okay? These are women who are filled with the joy of the Lord. And you know, joy is not simply an emotion. Joy is because you're becoming who you are, and you're walking in the way of the Lord in the midst of the joys and sufferings and sorrows. So it's a great testimony.
Well, Dorothy, we welcome you to At Home with Jim and Joy, and we're so delighted to have you. And we want first for you to tell our family a little bit about Dorothy.
Well, first, I just wanted to begin with just incredible, a big, warm-hearted thank you. I'm sort of pinching myself. I can't believe that yeah, I got actually invited to be on EWTN. So thank you so much for having me. It's just a real privilege. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So a little bit about Dorothy. I was born in Poland, and whenever I tell people, I always sort of say, if you could imagine, 3 circles in terms of 3 different stages in my life. So born in Poland, and I'm really blessed. I share a birthday with St. John Paul II, which is coming up, May 18th. So being born in Poland and having 2 parents that were, very devout, very religious, survivors of World War II, so the beginnings of my life were very, very immersed in devout, pious, devotional Catholicism. And then, the next circle I talk about is, careerism. I traveled a lot internationally, delivering seminars across the United States and Hawaii and New Zealand. And, there came a point in time where that careerism, once you've been in Hawaii the 4th time or the 5th time, there was like a loneliness, and I was single at the time. And by the grace of God, I met my husband as a lector at St. Michael's Cathedral Basilica in Toronto. And it was a remarkable meeting because John, took me from being a cultural Catholic to the Franciscan University of Steubenville, where, I had met Catholics like I had never met before. And then, of course, the 3rd stage of my life, becoming a mom. And I actually wrote a letter to St. John Paul in May 2002 that his office responded to. So they're all just these cultural pulls in different directions. So that's a little bit about Dorothy.
Yes. Well, thank you so much. And boy, that Polish background, the Catholic faith tradition in the land of Poland, St. John Paul II, so much persecution, through Nazism and communism, and yet holding firm to the faith, being steadfast in that, and not cowering back, and knowing what you're up against, and moving forward. And Lord knows that's what we need in this day and in this time, to be in this world but not of this world, to be tolerant of other people as much as we can be, and other views, but to not compromise the truth and the faith. And then you had that renewal kind of experience that you were sharing about. Those 2 things come together, I would think, would be very, very important in the work that you're doing now, which is something that you think everyone would just sign off on, the wonder of the feminine, mothers, children, but that is not the case. We're in a culture that has an animus, it seems to me, against motherhood and against children and the bearing of children and fruitfulness. You want to hear Satan scream, and some people on the other side scream, say, I'm going to be radically Catholic, and we're going to be open to human life and have children, and we want to multiply as the Catholic Church. You'll hear screams from every realm. So tell us about your vision, about your passion, and why you're so honed in on moms in this whole area of motherhood. How did this take place, and where are you with it?
Well, I've hosted my own Catholic moms group for over 20 years, and there were so many remarkable blessings that, came along with hosting a moms group. And women started to approach me asking me, how can I do this? And then eventually I requested a meeting along with another mom with, His Eminence Archbishop Cardinal Collins of Toronto, sort of saying, starting a mothers group is not rocket science, but it's so desperately needed in our culture. I was very blessed to have a mother that constantly talked about the importance of the Catholic faith. She constantly talked about the souls in purgatory and the necessity to pray for those souls. And there was a fair bit of tension in my life growing up because, of course, I was the only person in my family that was growing up in Canada. So there was a lot of excitement and a lot of tension. And that picture there of my sister and I, like I was always the one that kind of walking away. And my sister stood like a soldier rather. So the Catholic Moms Group started originally as a personal initiative. Then we moved and approached Cardinal Collins, and we started a pilot project across the Archdiocese of Toronto. In the Archdiocese of Toronto, there are, almost 2 million Catholics, so there's, many Catholics, and so we started a small pilot project, then rolled out, and it's been a blessing to so many women, and when women find other Catholic girlfriends, when women find another mom that has the same values, there is an incredible amount of joy. There is an incredible amount of excitement because it's sort of like, finally, I'm home, because these aren't things that we hear about in the corporate sector. And I have to be careful. I'm so passionate sometimes I don't stop, so forgive me. Forgive me.
Well, that's okay. Dorothy, why don't you tell our family what the Catholic vocation of motherhood means to you?
Well, first of all, that each and every child is a gift from God. And when you get a gift from God, it requires just a tremendous amount of care. It requires a tremendous amount of attention. Sometimes I say, imagine if you got a present from, Queen Elizabeth, you'd probably, treat that gift so tenderly. But yet, sometimes I think we forget that children are gifts from God, and that our primary duty as Catholic mothers is to, pass down a vibrant, robust, joyful Catholic spirituality, and that our Blessed Mother, she wants to help us. And so, mothers right now, they can turn to our Blessed Mother, and our Blessed Mother will make the impossible possible. She will nurture us. She will console us. She will dispense graces to us specific to our children. So the vocation of motherhood is, we're working hard to raise the dignity of motherhood, that, motherhood isn't just a series of tasks, that there's something supernatural and sacred about that role.
Yes. Well, it's almost like in our culture and even in the church that the role and the dignity and the value of a woman needs to be reset because it has so infiltrated, right? What moms looked like 50 years ago and what moms look like today and who we are. And it's like, wait a minute, are we satisfied with these results? Maybe we need to go back and recreate and see, how do we survive? What makes us whole? Who tells us who we are, as opposed to the world telling us who we are, and then everybody trying to catch their breath, trying to keep up to what the world says that we are, need to be as women of God. So how does this Catholic group help women?
Well, These mothers groups are parish-based, and the goal of each of the Catholic mothers groups is to reconnect the mom with the church and her role as a primary educator. And we're very, very excited because we've been working in partnership with the Archdiocese of Toronto for we're in our 6th year now. So we have developed a tremendous amount of materials, and we have just recently launched a new website where all of our materials are now uploaded and available to anyone in the English-speaking world. So it's we're sort of on a mission to train mothers group leaders, because I know that if I train a mothers group leader, she's going to impact 10, 20, 30, moms in her parish. And so that's what we do primarily. Primarily, we train mothers group leaders. We have a mothers group starter kit, both a physical kit and a digital kit. And we are hoping that, we can, what we've, this, I always say, this sort of sacred campfire that we have begun in the Archdiocese of Toronto. I'm just, again, very grateful to His Eminence, Cardinal Collins, who gave us permission to do this and continues to support us because he sees, that we need to return to our Blessed Mother and turn to her as a model of motherhood.
Speak to us about what you're finding in the parishes just regarding women, this perception of women that the culture seems to give to us over the last 50, 60 years, that I don't think it's resulted, as you've said in some of your writings, in great happiness among women. How are women hearing about you within the parishes? Maybe they've been touched, as Joy was saying, by this cultural view of womanhood and a real lessening of having children, birth control, abortion availability, career emphasis. Not that you can't be a mom and have a career. You might not be able to do everything all at the same time, but over time. And why would they be drawn to your fellowship, to the moms group? How are you reaching them? How are you piercing the darkness of this culture regarding true marriage and family and an openness to life and the beauty of life in the midst of sacrificing yourself, and maybe because of the sacrificing of yourself, versus trying to maintain yourself? The feminine view, this is my body. This is my body. I do what I want with my body, versus saying what the Lord said to our children, this is my body given for you. This is my blood given for you. I want to give my body. Only a woman could say that in a unique way. Our Lord says it, and the world gets the opportunity for salvation. So how do we cast that vision? How do we make it attractive to women to move from the cultural view of marriage and the family and the vocational call of Catholic women to marriage and to the family?
Well, Jim, I was just, thank you. There's so much that you said in that has, touched me profoundly and deeply. And I know it's not a popular thing to say, but I do feel called to say it, is that really right now, I think we're facing a little bit of a national emergency. And why are we facing, or an international maybe emergency? Well, women have been sold a false bill of goods. And one of the very, very first people that helped me see that was Dr. Alice von Hildebrand when I attended a conference at the Franciscan University of Steubenville. And she gave a riveting talk that just outlined so clearly how, Satan has launched a strategic attack against the soul of a woman. And And I was when she gave that talk, I was almost sort of shaking, and seeing the fallout of Satan's attack is scary, and that's what I think drives our ministry. So it's not an easy ministry, but what we're seeing in the last 50 years, like, women are beginning to see and hear the lies themselves, you know. Dr. Carrie Gruss, for example, has written a remarkable book on, you know, the anti-Mary, and women are beginning to see they're exhausted, they're burnt out, they're don't have the meaningful relationships, and so very often, you know, I always say that that women have now, not all of them, of course, but that many women, you know, in the past they complained they were slaves to the housework. Well, now they're slaves to the corporation. So we reach out through the parish, we reach out through the public schools, and we reach out through word of mouth. We have a very strong social media presence on Instagram, Catholic Moms Group, on Facebook, Catholic Moms Group. And when women come into a Catholic Moms Group, something remarkable and beautiful happens, you know. You know, my mom, who was raising children in Poland, she didn't have that same need because, you know, Maria across the street or Susie down the road, we're all on the same page. Well, it's a national emergency now because we're living in a culture where everyone isn't on the same page. So when a few Catholic mothers get together and start a flame in their parish and begin to bring other women around that, it does revive the soul of a woman, because it's like, finally, I'm at home, you know? So thank you
Thank you. We're going to have to close it there, Dorothy. That's a wonderful place to conclude. CatholicMomsGroup.com, CatholicMomsGroup.com. If you want to be with a group of women that get it and what you're going through, and that you can be revived in, feel secure in, feel confident in, CatholicMomsGroup.com. Plenty more to come. We'll be right back. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, we had a wonderful conversation with Dorothy, talking about starting up this beautiful group for Catholic moms, talking about the wreckage of the lies that women have believed and lived, and how our society has suffered, and how woman has suffered, and because she believed it. And we certainly see it on a daily basis at our pregnancy medical center with girls who come in who believe they're in relationships and he's just going to love me and he's going to be committed to me, but all he wanted to do was use her, and now he's impregnated her and he wants to abort. And girls who are thinking, I can't have my baby because I have to graduate. You know, and so I always say to the girls, you're going to sacrifice the life of your child for your degree. Yes, I am. And then what is it going to cost you? Graduation day, you'll stand there with your diploma, but you and God alone will know what it really cost you. And the injury to our souls that we're doing. And so this is a wonderful place to revive, restore, renew as a woman, and find out who God made you for. CatholicMomsGroup.com. Motherhood is a vocation from God, they say. Personal sanctification through the trials and tribulations of mothering. God sanctifying mothers through childbearing. The mother-child relationship is a sacred relationship. Providing a child with a holy childhood is critical. Catholic moms need one another. Maybe you didn't always see this. And maybe you've traveled down some roads that you wish you never traveled down. There's mercy, there's grace, there's forgiveness, there's reconciliation, even if you've aborted a child, to ask God's forgiveness and grace. And you could become one of the most eloquent spokespersons on behalf of life. And so go to CatholicMomsGroup.com. Get the support. Get the amen from other women that you need.
and be filled with that joy that Jesus Christ talks about. That your joy would be full. Your joy would be complete. You're an important part of this family. You are never alone. And you're always at home with Jim and with Joy. Keep it on EWTN. Bye now.